Well, we're going to talk sports, NFTs, fan engagement, and I have just the right person for this conversation. Yang, you're the SVP at Turner Sports, Discovery, Warner, and it's not your first time coming to our event. Your team's been with us for years now, really almost since the very, very beginning of things. And of course, you were one of our panelists last year, and everybody really appreciated what you had to share. And we're excited to have you come and participate again this year. For folks that don't know who you are, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what you do as the SVP at Turner.
Yep. No, look, I appreciate Ian for inviting me again. And I love this event just because of both the audience and crowd are really interested in moving the NFT space forward. And it's a really good event to attend. And we're happy to have been with you guys for a number of years now and looking forward to seeing the space continue to grow and being part of helping that grow. So to give you a sense of what I do, I'm Yang Adija. I head up, I'm SVP at Turner Sports Bleacher, in which I head up our league partnership relationships, as well as growth and innovation. And what that means is that we have league partners that we work with to build their digital experience and partner with them around engagement with fans and users. But at the same time, Turner Sports, what we look to do in our DNA is to really be innovative and look for new ways of engaging with fans. And we've been fortunate enough to be engaged in working within the NFT Web3 space for a number of years. And it's really about us giving our fans the opportunity to really participate in sports in a new way. And that's what's so exciting to us, of us really empowering our fans in interesting ways. And one of the things that I've talked about a lot is how NFTs not only allows fans to engage and have fun, but it also allows fans now to be part of the experience. And that's what we're really trying to drive towards.
Well, it's amazing to see how the sports side of all things Web3, blockchain, NFTs have grown. If you just look at our event alone, several years ago when we started the event, 2019, I think John Costner was the only person that spoke on sports, right? Because of his background at ESPN and all the things that he did in advanced sports technologies. And we were just laughing, he and I, about it's an entire stage for an entire day this year, right? So many voices. Can you share a bit about the diversity and the innovation that you're seeing with sports NFTs, gaming NFTs, all these things that are kind of in your wheelhouse?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, just in terms of the breadth of the things that we're engaging in alone, we 2 years ago, we did a unique drop during the NBA All-Star Weekend with Bleacher. It's called BR Open Run. And it was around bringing artists and musicians together and sports and really doing it in a way that was around collectibles. And so now what we're continuing to evolve towards is that sports fans are also gaming fans. And how do we use sports games and NFTs to really engage in a new way? Not just, hey, certainly you're playing the game to have fun, but also playing a game in which you now have provenance over some of the digital items that are in there. And, our team, we often talk about when you have a fan that you think about, in your neighborhood, when you have someone who's a renter in your neighborhood and how they think about the area versus someone who is a homeowner in the neighborhood and how they think about the area. And what we want everyone to be within our Web3 experience is that we want them to be homeowners. But I'll take it even a step further than that. What we're starting to build within our ecosystem is that we want people to be entrepreneurs within our ecosystem as well. And providence and digital property rights allows those things to happen. And we're trying to build towards that in a sports, fun, engaging way.
Could we talk a bit about the star athletes for a moment? Because there's so much conversation around technology, marketing, community, and collectors. Sometimes We forget about the impact that this makes on the Tom Brady's and the Tiger Woods and the LeBron James of the world that are at the top of their game or have been recently are going to be impacted by all that happens around NFTs and the fan engagement. And so can you share your perspective on how does this positively impact these A-list superstar athletes and those that are coming up the ranks through high school and college, and what world are they going to enter into that will be different than what the Michael Jordans and the Wayne Gretzky's experienced? That season of fan engagement is kind of going to bed, and there's a whole new thing opening up specific for the athletes that entertain us and that we cheer on and kind of partake in the community in that way. Love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, and I love the way that you mentioned, what this opens up for them, because it is the fans want to be closer to the athletes. They want, particularly early on, I mean, certainly there are some athletes that come out of the gate like LeBron, who is sort of, probably well known in, as a high school student, but you have some of the athletes that are less well known, but they have a following and a fan base that they can start to engage with early. Imagine even let's take Tom Brady, not a highly recruited, quarterback coming out of, college, but there were those who believed in them. And then you can also have fans that are engaging in that community with the athlete and can take that journey with them as they continue to, succeed in their career. So what this does, it lends itself to a new way for athletes to connect with their fan base, a new way for athletes, obviously, to also, monetize outside of their, direct sport. But I think it's going to open up so many different channels for both athletes and the environment, for sports. And one of the things that we're doing, in addition to, as we said, collectibles and drops, and also creating and building games, we actually tested out with Block League Games is one of the things that we've worked with. We're also looking to, what we talk about is engaging with the fan holistically. So not just have a fan come in and say, my experiences in gaming or my experiences in collectibles, but fans don't think that way. They think, hey, I want to explore my fandom, and that fandom can be across, all platforms. And we think that the NFTs allows them to carry that provenance across all platforms.
So if you broke down sports in general, right, you have global sports, you have national sports, then you have sports like the NBA league, and then you have teams like the Warriors, and then stars like Steph Curry.
Yes.
When you think about what's in place today, which of these categories, the star athlete compared to the global sport environment, which of these categories has the best opportunity to leverage the technology that's currently in place, and how might you guide a league or a team or a star to kind of take steps in making good decisions and how they engage with their fans?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think it's the best. I think it's just different. I think if you look on the athlete level, I think they have an early opportunity to engage with fans and NFTs. They are usually the face of the sport. They're well known. They have that community. Community is extremely important for engaging with the fan base and growing your sort of NFT community. And I think the athletes, what I would say is, really cater to your community, understand your community. It is not just a, mint and leave it. It is a mint and engage. And so that is why, if you're not an athlete that is used to or comfortable with, engaging with your fan base, I'm not sure just minting something is, necessarily, always going to be the winning formula. But if you are one that wants to engage with your community and can spell that out, I think that's the way to go. But I also think on the, I'd say probably the league level, or even sometimes even broader than that, and what we're trying to work with our league partners around is, when you think about utility of some of these NFTs and creating an ecosystem for these NFTs, what we're trying to design, we're partnering with, is being in a place where we can design the why and the what else for these NFTs. Again, another analogy I like to use is that in real life, when you buy an umbrella, you know the utility for that right away because raindrops are falling on you and you're like, hey, this is how I can use it. In some of the NFTs, creating an environment in which you understand, okay, this is why I have an NFT. This is what it can do for me. This is how I can express its utility, is designed by folks like us and the leagues. And that's where I think that there can be a benefit in terms of really expanding and engaging fans in new ways, and also allowing fans to participate in engaging in developing and designing these environments. I think is going to be the next stage, which I feel is going to be really exciting to be part of.
Do you think there's going to be something called a full-time fan in the future that's not currently in place? So I'll frame it this way. Cheerleaders are full-time fans that are paid to be fans. That's what they do. Now, of course, there's a lot to it, but that's what they're full-time fans, and that's their living. And then there's all the people that dress up and they've collected the collectibles for decades, and even they've got hand-me-downs from their father and their grandfather, and they're not full-time fans.
Right.
But man, they sure have the passion for it. Right. And you think there's a transition by the use of NFT utility by which some of these people that might as well, like they're so into their hobby of being a fan of this league or this team, they do it like it's their job, right? And do you think there's a future by which they can transition to something similar to a cheerleader, where they actually have an ability to make a living because of their engagement and their passion and their drive and their commitment to being a fan, in a sense? Yeah. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, look, I think there's the door is open for that, and it's not going to be for every fan. You'll still have some fans that are will be casual or transition and participate, but you'll have a window for fans to really come in and express their fandom, and because they're expressing their fandom and through ownership and provenance, that they will then be able to continue, as you said, to be this full-time fan and monetize that. I would take it even a step further. I think for those fans that are creative or creators, I should say, and are adding value to that ecosystem, they're adding value to that, sort of sphere of fandom, that they will also be in a place where they will also, be able to have value, receive value from doing that. And as an example, one of the things that you said, not only are you saying collecting something and being a cheerleader or something, but also if I design something that other fans want to have, or I create, competitions that other fans want to engage with, you don't have to necessarily be a player, but you can be a fan of that sport, of that, of the athlete, and create an environment that other fans want to participate in, and that you as a creator in that space can now also benefit from your ingenuity.
I have so many questions. I really could just keep asking questions forever, but I do want to be thoughtful of our time. So let me gear our wrap in this regard. How do you think this plays out in sports video games? Maybe not this year, but Olympics 2032, 10 years from now, or the golf, the big Pebble Beach event in golf 10 years from now. Yeah. How do you, in your imagination, how is engagement different when we are in the metaverse playing golf against Tiger Woods? He's live on Pebble Beach, still playing at that point, right? And we're playing against the Olympic athlete, right? Like they're live and we're next to him and playing, and there's some sort of ownership of it all. I'd love to just hear your thoughts and your imaginations on where this plays out over the course of a decade in terms of new fan engagement that we've never made available because it wasn't possible in the past.
I love that you asked me that question, because that's what we're doing right now, and that's what we're testing out, and that's what we are leaning into. We have a game that's out there now called Block League Golf. It's a NFT golf game. It was a sandbox for us that we, over the last few years, have been testing and looking to play, understand the space. We are engaging with some of our other league partners around developing a game over the next year here, and hopefully we'll be able to announce that shortly as well in terms of what that is. But the way that we look at it, and those sports in particular that you just mentioned, but as well as others, is that we would love to see a space in which you can engage, in the metaverse, in the Web3 space around the sport, and you can have different engagement entry points. You can be one that's a competitor. You can be one that wants to own and create within the space. You can be one that's looking to work through the economics of the ecosystem. But we want to make sure that this is tied into both the live experience as well as the sort of the viewing experience. And so we can see a space in which you're playing the game. You go and watch on the network, and you can see, as you mentioned, let's use Tiger Woods since that was the example. Tiger Woods, you own the NFT of one of few NFTs in the game. If Tiger Woods hits a birdie, that then it powers your NFT in the metaverse because he hit that birdie. So you have an interest both in what Tiger Woods is doing, but at the same time, that impacts what you're doing in your game. And in addition to that, let's say you continue to level up within your game, that gets you access to Pebble Beach or what have you, and those other places. And there are so many intricacies that we think that can work out between both the live experience as well as the gaming experience. And it could be even a place where what we're looking to hopefully test out within the short window are, Easter eggs within the viewing experience, which as a NFT collector, as an owner of a certain thing, that Easter egg means something to your NFT, that helps interact with or engage with your game experience. And that all comes through ownership. And obviously you have the ability to sell or share these things with others as you see fit, as you build out the ecosystem. So again, another space that we think is ripe and exciting to where we think things can go.
Well, I'm so glad you jumped on with me and that we had kind of this open dialogue. Obviously, you didn't know any of the questions I was going to ask. Neither did I. It was a surprise book. And your answers were really articulate. And it's just nice to have somebody in your position come talk with our community about, hey, here's what's happening today and here's where things are going. It just gives people a great perspective of what's in motion. So thank you for your leadership in our industry. And thank you to your peers and the folks that you work with over at Turner Sports. And I look forward to spending more time with you in a couple of weeks in New York.
No, thanks for having me. And I really enjoyed this. And we are excited about the space and looking forward to engaging with you and others, both in New York and beyond. So appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everybody watching our conversation, thank you for your attention. We'll see you in Times Square, June 20th through the 23rd. Have a great day, everybody.